Corey Good mentioned that. Well, that was the whole point of why they brought Corey Good in, was so that now people won't discuss a 20 and back.
Oh, maybe I am. Maybe we are just a victim of that.
Yeah, that's all that was. It's not that the
Shit.
topics were unapproachable or untrue. It's that
Right.
they were, so they needed to ruin it by putting an idiot like him up on a pedestal just to set him up for a large fall to be a
They've done
detriment
it.
to the topic.
They've done it before. We know they've done it.
Oh, all day long. This is such a like a CIA two-step. It's like,
Yeah.
again,
We
how
know.
do people not see this coming? You know?
Yeah, I guess and because I listened to the testimony and I gave the pros and cons to what I thought. I mean, the guy, he seems to believe himself, right? He seems to come off as confident, um, but there's also no evidence again, right? So no,
He's a standard con job.
yeah. So I mean, at this point, they're just words, and
Mhm.
the whole community is. I mean, it's video after video after video after video, and that's got to stop. That's like people are quick to call people grifters and this and that. No, the the grifters are not the ones that you think they are. The grifters are the ones that literally play the algorithms on you, right? And 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 of course, the grifters are the, the some of these people at the top of the UFO community, that try to. It's either their narrative or no narrative. One,
I mean, that's pretty much the whole community. I
yeah,
mean, by different definitions,
yeah.
and the different narratives would be, we have click A over here, which is the such and
Dr.
such
Greer,
convention,
yeah,
and we do it at this time of year, and then there's the such and such team that has the such and such convention, and this
yeah,
stuff is already all clicked up, it's already dialed in, there's already factions of who's working with who, and if you want to talk to this person, then that means you have to agree with what this person says, or we're going to throw you off the tour unless you immediately acquiesce to our demands on how you apply your freedom of speech in our freedom of speech tour.
yes,
It's
yeah, and
lunacy what's going on behind the scenes, and
yeah,
people, are would have even a harder time believing that all of these folks that present publicly as all being love and light and tolerance are some of the biggest lying scumbags you've ever met on the face of the earth. And that's just their public persona, because they know that it's lucrative as an industry to wear that mask publicly.
yeah, and I've said it so many times exactly the way you just said it. It's the ones that preach this love, light, hippie, you know, let's all be one galactic brotherhood, and we need to join our, like, it's okay. That's all well and good. It's a good message, but
Yeah,
then
as
why
long
are
as your
you
information agrees with them 100%.
right? It's a good message, but then why are these same people are, anytime anyone comes out, they're the first to say that they're a CIA disinformation agent, or they're they're this or they're that. They're always just inserting vitriol, and causing this chaos amongst their large followings. And I hate to say it, but we know who some of them are.
I
And
guess I've never seen them react that way. I always just thought they kept doubling down on the love and light card.
no. So I mean, I mean, that's the part, I guess, that I've always seen through in the community, is that it's this weird, like, we call it the UFO community, but it's not even close to a community. It's it's the same thing as the rest of the world. It's divvied up into, do you support Lou Elizondo? Do you support Dr. Greer? Do you support David Wilcox and
Yeah,
Ancient
it
Aliens?
would. I think it'd be more appropriate to refer to it as the UFO or disclosure opportunities,
Hmm, that
and
is a
then
good.
people try to fight for like slices of the pie.
Yeah.
And they're just looking to all cut it up for profit, it appears. That's what I'm observing, is that there seems to be few and far between people in the disclosure conversation for the express purpose of making sure that we, the people of this planet, are getting as much truth as possible.
Yeah.
I would like to align with more of those people. I would say that they're lacking in the conversations. And if I'm wrong, then that means everybody else out there can point me in the right direction of who these people are that are having these conversations, because I'm not seeing them. I'd
Yeah.
like to promote them happening more.
I could not agree more. And it's so sad, because I think, this goes for a lot of things. This notion, I think it goes for religion. I think it goes for us in this community. It goes for a lot. We all need to step back and realize that we all have a piece of the puzzle, right? It's when we come together and really come together as one, that's when you become a force to be reckoned with, right? That's when information sharing works, right? Open source information, making, that's when you become this, you can advance. That's when you transcend this system that's been set up to divide. You transcend it all by just stepping away from it. And a lot of people, they just they can't put the phone down. They can't shut the computer. They can't turn off the camera. It all needs to be for profit right now, right this second, instant gratification, likes, whatever. And it sucks, because, like, I think, like, if we look at religious texts, right? Of course, not all of it's true. It's been curated, but we also see a lot of common themes in religious texts. So why aren't we looking more into those common themes, like bloodlines, and why aren't we looking more into DNA? You've talked about it actually too, generational trauma. Being Does DNA does the DNA have the ability to store generational trauma and
And
instill
it
it?
does. We already know the answers to all of this. Science has shown that we basically, like right now, I am representing the collective knowledge base of the experiences of myself, my own firsthand experience, and the experiences of the 6 generations before me. This is all ascertainable now. We've done the work.
Like the
So we
100-year.
can do the effort. We can put forth that there are things that you can respond to in a way that can only be ascertained. They've done this with studies of animals and things where, they expose, and then next thing you know, they wait a couple of generations and they can get the appropriate response from a creature that has never even themselves directly been exposed to the threat, but it responds in the appropriate time and has the understanding. So generational education, we know to be built in for at least 6 generations.
Yeah.
This is how we work.
It kind of spans further than that too, to a degree, if you take it. So there was, I don't know the animal, so I'm paraphrasing, and take it with a grain of salt. It's something like this. There was like a group of chimps that learned to use a tool, and it was in this part of the world, right? Like one part of the world, not
It's the
connected.
100th monkey experiment.
Is that what that is?
That's what you're getting at with this, is that you can raise collective consciousness or understanding or education of things by exposure amount to others. And yes, this is one of the quirks of science. Everybody's been screaming from the mountaintops for the last couple of years. You have to trust the science, right? Well, they're being very selective in the science that they trust because nobody wants to discuss these peculiar aspects of observable physics and science. And this is the 100th monkey experiment where we see that things occur where you can have a population that, you know, all of a sudden you train a certain amount of the population in a task and the rest just seem to know it as if they had been exposed to it, but yet they had not. Yeah, I mean, this is, so where did that knowledge come from? It transcended space and time, apparently.
And that's exactly what I was getting at. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. The 100 monkeys. Yeah.
Yeah, so there's some sort of collective consciousness that got enough exposure that now the collective just is distributed the pertinent information. Cool.
And
now we know that can happen.
Is that what basic instinct is? Is that why a baby sea turtle knows to hightail it right for the water right when it comes out of the shell?
I mean, yes, there's a certain amount of pre-programming that has come from previous iterations of experience. So yes, we are part of that collective. In many ways, I mean, you can play with the numbers and words here a lot. What you could also say is you are more of your not experience than you are of even your own experience. So you, for the most part, reacting in a way that has nothing to do with the pertinence of the situation that you're in, but previous experiences, reactions, which would most likely be wholly inappropriate.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, it gets really peculiar really fast when we start to have massively different considerations for how the reality about us actually functions. And it's way more complex than we've been told.
Or even could imagine.
Yeah, absolutely. Correct. Absolutely. That's an even more fair way of putting it, because that's more accurate, is that there has been a lot of applied intention and investment in limiting our imaginations.
Oh my God, yes. And it's sometimes it feels so obvious, like, to me at least. And maybe it's just that, you know, I'm one of these people who happens to just see through it now. You know, I have that ability or something, but it's like, how does, and I think it's like you said earlier, how are you guys not putting this all together? How do you not see what I see? Because from where I'm sitting, it all is connected. It all makes sense. It all, we're not, there's a bigger story starting to be told. And it's been an 80-year thing, right? You know, so it's probably longer than that. But
seems to be a recurring cycle.
But again, yes, happens in cycles. So is it something that is just natural with the growth of a society? Does every society or culture or planet go through these same processes? You know, do you believe in reincarnation? Do you think that we are just ourselves and then we're gone? Or do we go to heaven? Or do we get circled back and recycled, like would the universe would suggest, like it does with everything else? I think scientifically, you could make the best case for reincarnation.
Yeah, I would be right there with you. And I would say that's why that information has also been hidden from us, and why we've also been taught to fear death as if it's the end all say all in regards to our experience. So being able to hang that over our heads and then bill you for life after death through your